so with a heavy heart today. The Government Bill 212 is not a smart bill. We know it's wrong-headed and it's cynical politics at best. What we're seeing from this government is trolling. What they're proposing to do is remove cycling infrastructure installed by cities. They're proposing to make roads less safe. It doesn't necessarily remove cyclists. It just means that the cyclists will then still be biking in those communities, but without the adequate protections that they deserve. The government goes as far, Speaker, as inoculating itself from future potential legislation. That is how much confidence that they have in the goodness of their bill. They themselves know that this is a wrong-headed bill. Speaker, we have heard from numerous advocates across Ontario who have come forward to speak about the importance of local governance. This includes the Association of Municipalities of Ontario, who have written to the Premier and the Cabinet about how wrong-headed this bill is. They cite that this government has overreached, once again, into municipalities. I have seen this fight before on numerous occasions when the Premier at this time, who was still sitting as a city councillor with his brother, did everything they could to undermine cycling and road safety in Toronto. I can't believe that the Premier wants to actually be the Mayor of Ontario. So much can be said about how to support municipalities, and none of that is here. The fact is, bike lanes do actually reduce congestion. They take up less space and still facilitate the movement of vehicles as well as passengers and people. The recent Bloor Street Corridor study has shown that information, and they know that in order for us to address congestion in Toronto, the government can do so much more. They can invest in transportation that includes active transportation, includes transit, which they have not done adequately. Toronto currently has the highest fare box in North America when it comes to transit. This government has abdicated its responsibility by investing in that mass transit order. The government could also reduce congestion by regulating rideshare. We have 100,000 vehicles every single day through Uber and Lyft deadheading through our community, hustling for passengers. They are actually contributing to the problem of congestion. This government refuses to see that. We also know that hundreds of roads in Toronto are pinched by private developers as they build housing and other mixed-use communities. That is a problem in Toronto. I don't see this government addressing that concern, nor is this government putting any other effort in the other smart tools that can be invested in to reduce congestion. We've also seen that bike lanes can boost business. This has come from their own study from the Toronto Bike Lane Impact Study conducted on Bloor Street. We see similar studies in San Francisco, Vancouver, Portland that all shows that when you put in cycling infrastructure, you will see more people stopping in neighborhoods, investing, shopping, dining. The fact is, roads and sidewalks are municipal issues, and they should be left to municipalities, not necessarily oversight by this provincial government who is meddling and trying to distract us from their real record, which is the failure to invest in housing, the failure to invest in healthcare, the failure to address the problems in long-term care. This municipal issue that this government continues to overreach in is a problem. Municipalities want a partner in their provincial government. They don't want an overseer. Provincial overreach on this matter is highly undemocratic and ignores the rights of Toronto residents. And mark my words, it will ignore the rights of your local residents when the time comes. Finally, the removal of cycling infrastructure in Toronto is a massive waste of taxpayer dollars. This is not fiscally prudent on any order whatsoever. By removing those cycling lanes, not only are you losing the $27 million of sunk costs that went into installing it, you're actually now forfeiting that by adding another $47 million to it. The data is clear. Bike lanes do save lives. It alleviates congestion and it benefits businesses on the corridor. Residents in Toronto deserve a government that will work with them. I want to be able to highlight a few voices from my community, and I want to thank them for writing in. Because in order for me to actually convey how I feel about this debate, I'm going to bring the voices of my community right into the chamber. I want to share the voices of a very thoughtful constituent and anesthesiologist, Dr. Natalie Wayman. She writes, I'm a physician in Toronto. I've worked at nearly every major hospital in the GTA. While working in the trauma bays at the two major trauma centers, Sunnybrook and St. Michael's, I've witnessed firsthand the devastating effects of cycling accidents. I've been impressed by the city's initiative to improve road safety by creating protected bike lanes, so much so that I've now begun cycling. I am now biking downtown, and I've been doing so for years. And to my surprise, my commute will be disrupted. My partner works further downtown, and he would like to continue cycling. If the bike lanes were removed, this will cause concern about his safety. I also heard from another healthcare worker, Speaker, Nathan Haspel. He shares that his friends who work in healthcare rely heavily on University Avenue to get to work. If those bike lanes were removed, Speaker, they are concerned that they will not be able to get to work on time or be safe. Ontarian Colin White, who identifies himself as a car owner and not a cyclist, has strong words for this House. I urge you to oppose any attempts to remove the bike lanes on Bloor Street, University Avenue, and Yonge Street. Recent discussions on the potential removal are both disappointing and a grave oversight. They undermine the progress of our city, and they actually make our community less safe. Fact, Speaker, bike lanes save lives. Finally, I will say this. As a parent who is raising my child in Toronto, I want my child and all his friends to be safe. It is only a matter of time when you take away his bike lane that you'll leave him less safe. You leave him harmed, and I will be greatly disappointed.
Thank you. You've reached the end of time for debate. Pursuant to the order of the House,